I'm sorry. I think I forgot my wallet. The old man's voice was so quiet it was almost inaudible. The owner behind the counter frowned. No pay, no service. Claire stepped in. I'll pay for it. You will? The owner laughed. Then you're fired too. 2 hours later, when the door opened, a military authority filled the room. And for the first time, the owner felt fear. Hey, welcome to Silent Courage Stories. Before we jump into this powerful story about respect, justice, and hidden heroes, drop a comment and tell us what city you're watching from. And hey, if you think stories like this should never be forgotten, hit that subscribe button and help us keep their memory alive. The Coffee Corner was a small place in one of Austin, Texas's quietest corners on South Congress Avenue. Students came in the mornings, office workers at noon, and neighborhood locals in the evenings. The coffee was hot, the music soft, the atmosphere intimate. But what made it truly special was Claire Morgan. At 28, fresh out of the University of Texas, she was applying to become a literature teacher but hadn't been placed yet. She'd been working at the Coffee Corner for 6 months. What started as a job for money had become something meaningful. She observed people, their coffee choices, the way they sat, the tone of their voices. Everyone was a story, but most of the time, no one was listening. Claire was listening. That November morning was colder than usual. The Austin sky was covered with a grayish blanket, and wind swept in from the Colorado River into the streets. Claire had opened the cafe at 7 a.m. The first customer arrived at 7:30, rushed as always, ordered an espresso, and left. Then came a few students, a couple of lonely middle-aged men. No one looked at each other. Everyone was in their own world. At 10:45, the door opened. An elderly man walked in. His shoulders slightly hunched, his walk slow but determined. He wore a brown U.S. Army jacket, old, worn, but clean. His hair was silver white, his face lined with wrinkles, but his eyes were still sharp, still alert. He carried nothing in his hands, just a small leather wallet in his pocket. No one looked at him. Claire did. The old man walked to the corner table and sat down quietly. He glanced around, as if he recognized the place. Then he lowered his head slightly and placed his hands on the table. They trembled faintly. Claire approached. "Good morning. What can I get you?" The old man looked up, his eyes locked onto Claire's. In that moment, something passed between them, an indefinable connection, a nameless understanding. "Black coffee," he said quietly. "No sugar." Claire smiled. "Coming right up." As she turned, she felt the owner's gaze. Rick Thompson, in his 50s, overweight, always tense. He cared about nothing except making money. He constantly told Claire, "Move faster, talk less, sell more." Claire prepared the coffee. She added a glass of water and 2 small cookies to the tray. When she returned to the old man's table, he had closed his eyes and was taking a deep breath. "Here you go, sir," Claire said gently. The old man opened his eyes. "Thank you, ma'am," he said. His voice was fragile but sincere. As Claire walked back, she noticed something. The old man sipped the coffee, then took the water glass but never touched the cookies. He just looked at them, silently, for a long time. Then he pulled out his wallet. It was empty. Claire saw the expression on his face, not shame, just acceptance. The old man slowly stood up, straightened the coffee cup he'd left on the table, then walked toward the counter. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I must have forgotten my wallet." Rick looked him over from behind the register. "What did you say?" "I don't have money." "I forgot." Rick frowned. "No pay, no service. Those are the rules." The old man lowered his head. "I understand. My apologies." Claire was watching from inside. Her heart tightened. Without thinking, she stepped forward. "I'll pay for it." Rick turned. "You will?" "Yes. I'll cover his coffee." The owner laughed, a mocking, cold laugh. "You'll pay?" "Claire, this isn't a charity. This is a business." "I know, but I'm still paying." Rick stepped closer, his voice hardening. "If you pay, then you're fired." The cafe suddenly went silent. Customers turned. No one spoke, but everyone listened. Claire hesitated. She'd needed this job for 6 months. She had rent, bills, dreams. But in that moment, she looked into the old man's eyes. And in those eyes, there wasn't just exhaustion. There was honor. "Then I'm fired," Claire said calmly. Rick stepped back, surprised. "If you're serious, pack your things and leave." Claire removed her apron and placed it on the counter. Then she pulled $5 from her pocket and set it in front of Rick. "For his coffee," she said. The old man stood frozen. "You didn't have to." Claire turned to him. "Yes, I did." Then she walked to the door. She didn't look back. When she stepped outside, the cold wind hit her face, but inside, she felt warm. The old man stood there, motionless. Then slowly, he looked at Rick. "I want to tell you something," he said quietly. "I'm not interested," Rick said sharply. The old man smiled, a bitter smile. "Doesn't matter, I'll say it anyway. That girl was the most valuable thing in this cafe, but you couldn't see it." Then he turned and walked out. Rick muttered, looking at the customers. "Show's over, everyone back to your business." But no one was looking at him anymore. Claire walked down the street. She didn't know where she was going. She just walked. The sky had darkened further, rain threatening. When she reached the entrance to Zilker Park, she sat down and took a deep breath. "What did I just do?" she thought, but she wasn't sorry. A voice came from behind her. "Thank you." She turned. The old man was there, holding a small piece of paper. "You're welcome," said Claire, "but you really didn't have to follow me." "I did," said the old man. He held out the paper. "Take this. Please." Claire took it. A phone number was written on it. Below it, just 2 words, General William Briggs. "Who's this?" Claire asked. The old man smiled. "My son. If you ever need help, call him. But please, I owe you." Then he slowly walked away. Claire watched him, then looked at the paper. She put it in her pocket and forgot about it. 2 hours later, everything at the coffee corner had returned to normal. Rick was sitting at the register. Customers were drinking their coffee. Life went on. Then the door opened. This time was different. The man who entered wore a dark green U.S. Army uniform. 4 stars gleamed on his shoulders. 3 more soldiers followed him, all silent, all serious. The cafe instantly froze. Rick stood up. "Sir, is there a problem?" The general walked forward. "Your name Rick Thompson?" "Yes. Yes, sir. 2 hours ago there was a man here. Elderly, brown army jacket. Do you remember him?" Rick began to sweat. "Yes, I think so. That was my father." Silence. "And there was a young woman working here." "Claire. You fired her." Rick swallowed. "Sir, it was policy." The general raised his hand. "Policy," he said coldly. "My father served this country for 30 years, Korea to Desert Storm, base to base. Let me tell you something, Mr. Thompson. That man put his life on the line so people like you could live comfortably." Rick trembled. "I didn't know." "You didn't need to know, but you needed to show respect." The general turned. "Where is Claire Morgan?" Rick couldn't speak. One of the customers stood up. "She left. She was fired." The general nodded. Then he turned back to Rick. "I'm not shutting down this cafe. But know this, tomorrow morning this story will be in the papers, and everyone will know how you treated a 76-year-old veteran and the young woman who helped him." Then he left. Rick collapsed. That evening, Claire was at home. Her phone rang. An unknown number. "Hello?" "Miss Morgan, this is General William Briggs. My father told me about you." Claire froze. "How did you find me?" "The cafe owner gave me your number. I wanted to call you. Can you meet me tomorrow morning?" The next morning, Claire was waiting at Fort Hood Military Base. The door opened, and General William Briggs entered. "Thank you," he said, for what you did for my father. I just know you showed honor, and in this country, honor is rare. He picked up an envelope from the desk. I have an offer. You can start working at Fort Hood's Veterans Services Department, if you want. Claire's eyes filled with tears. I accept. 3 months later. The coffee corner had closed. Rick Thompson had gone bankrupt. Claire was working at Fort Hood. Every day she talked with elderly veterans, listened to their stories, and served them. And every morning, Robert Briggs came. He drank coffee, smiled, and quietly said thank you. Because sometimes the greatest heroes don't wear uniforms. Sometimes they just wear an apron and do the right thing.